Hey everyone, welcome back to the Stay on Your Bike podcast. Just like to give a bit of a shout out to Dan Atherton. I'm rocking my new Dovey bike part hoodie there. Went to Dovey the other week and it was really cool. This week's guest, I'd say, is probably one of the most stylish operators on a bike in the UK currently, and has obviously been to Dovey a few times. Um, yeah, amazing bike rider. Really excited to have him on the podcast. Super cool dude. And welcome to the podcast, Alex Storr. How you doing, fella?
Hi, good. Cheers, Paige. Yeah, thanks for having us.
No worries. Thanks for coming on.
Cheers. Yeah, I was thinking it must be about a year now you've been doing this podcast, is it?
Yeah, just
Because I reckon it was the first British national last year. We were talking about it's probably this time last year, I reckon.
no way.
I think
Yeah.
years,
Is it?
the year's like special.
Yeah. Okay. This could be the Maya just said this could be the year special then.
No, I just called it out. No, I don't want to be the year special.
No, I think you think you deserve it, mate.
No, yeah, no, it's good. Good to chat. It's been a while.
It has, it has. So what's been happening lately? I've not seen you in a bit. Obviously I watched your edit a few weeks ago with you and your brother, which was really cool. What
Oh yeah.
what's been going on like just lately?
Well, yeah, this winter we've stayed at home now. So we last winter we went off to New Zealand and did that, but no, still focusing on the enduro and seeing how that goes. But yeah, just a lot of riding, bits and bobs here at home. But yeah, it's been good having a bit of structure at home rather than being all on the road and stuff. So yeah,
Cool.
enjoying it.
So whereabouts are you based exactly?
North Wales, we're quite like high on the border, so yeah, North Wales, not too far from Llangollen. You would have wrote that.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, when I first got into mountain biking, we used to go to a place in near Nannock. That was where our
Yeah, I think yeah.
nearest downhill track was. There was a load of
Was it?
go on.
Was it Cum Woods? Is it maybe? No.
No, no. So basically, sorry, what's it called? Well, it was always known as the Scouse track because a load of Scouse.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I don't know if that's a thing anymore, but I have heard about it. Yeah,
Well, it got
Scouse trap.
yeah, it was called the Scouse track because quick story on it. Me and a friend of mine, Mike Alderson, when we were sort of first getting into downhilling, we went over that way just on a pedal with a group of mountain bikers, and while we were out on the pedal, we kind of come across this bottom of this track that looked insane. And then we bumped into all these lads in body armor and on downhill bikes and stuff, and they were just a bunch of lads from Liverpool. They
Yeah,
had, they had walkie-talkies and they had timing sheets and everything. So me and Mike sacked the ride off that we were on and just spent the day with them boys, just doing runs. And then basically every weekend we used to go back there and yeah, just ride that track and do time runs. And that's what sort of got us into downhilling. But it
was
was
it?
yeah, it
Yeah,
was a mint scene, and the track was amazing for the time. And that was not far away. I think we used to kind of drive to Mold and then turn off from Mold.
yeah. Well, there's so much, isn't there, around here? We've got a lot of variety. It's pretty mint spot now.
Yeah,
Like even like you say, like to Dovey, how that big that's going now, and
yeah,
all the bike parks. Yeah, it's a hell of a spot to be.
yeah. It's really good, isn't it? So where's your local riding spot? Which is the place you go to most? Would you say?
Llangollen would be for me. Yeah, just
Okay,
because there's you got Martin's downhill trails, one giant leap, and you've got all the off piste too. So
okay. Whereabouts is the off-piste stuff then? There is it over in the steep woods and stuff?
yeah, that's it. The Steep Woods, the OG, the OG sort of BDS track. I always go back and watch that video of that on the 26-inch bikes.
Yeah,
It's class M. Now you can still ride that, but there's still a few in the woods. And to the left of it, there's heaps in the woods. Nothing sanctioned or anything, but yeah, it's good.
cool.
High, techy, a bit steep, and yeah, you do quite a big loop around the valley too. So it's ideal for a big day out. Yeah, it's perfect.
Mint. So, like, other than your brother, who's your sort of local riding mates and that?
Yeah, brother will come out on the weekends, and in the week often on my own, or see if some of the downhill boys are out, so like you like Breeden, Hatton, and all them. Then sometimes get Joe Smith. So, but yeah, you can just go to the bike parks and there's anyone there to ride with all day. So
Yeah,
you're laughing with that. Yeah, it's quite a big scene, so it's not too bad. There's always someone to ride with, which is class.
And so, Alex, give us a little bit of background. You know what you did before you got into mountain biking. Like, you came from a trials background, did you?
Yeah, it's always been trials since I was a kid. It's what my dad did, so it's what I did. So it was moto trials. I think I was on that since I was like 5, and then always on a bike. You know, you even trials, you'd have a mountain bike, but you wouldn't know what it was for. You'd just be hopping and popping on it, and then trials cycle bike. And I think I then did my first enduro race when I was 16. Just a local round. It was the Welsh Enduro up at Fallgasnet.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and didn't even really. Don't know, I didn't really think it was a thing. I just thought, oh, there's a race. So my mum saw it on Facebook, so I went and did it, and then found a little bit ever since, really, and that's just what I did was enduro. Yeah.
And so, you know what kind of level did you get up to in the trials moto stuff?
It'd be national level. I go up to the nationals in B class. That was 125.
Yeah.
And then you'd move up in age, and it would be, you think you'd have to move to 300, but I think that age I sort of stepped back because it started getting a bit big. You needed minders. It's, you know, you start breaking more stuff. It's just became quite a big job to go around the country, do the nationals that way. So thought rein it in and just do jump on the mountain bike. So, but yeah, national level, we compete each weekend.
Yeah.
All around the country, and yeah, it's what I did since I was 5 on the trials bike competing. So
Cool. Well, even when I started the mountain biking, obviously it was when I kind of started that a lot of people had come from other disciplines, you know, because it was a a newer sport kind of thing, and there was lots of good trials riders, and I still see trials riders coming into it today, but um, I always think trials riders have a different style on the bike to mountain bikers that have come from other disciplines. Um, maybe that they're always super good on the techie stuff and they know how to read the terrain, the routes they're on. But they never seemed quite as good as some other guys at at jumping or like a flowing style, and that's completely opposite with you. Where do you think that? How do you think that's come about?
no, I know what you're saying. Everyone thinks trials is just all that slow tight stuff, but I don't know. Yeah, I've always said the bits in between the sections what I was enjoyed most was getting to one section to the other was the fast part. So, but yeah, you never really go up in the air, so I don't know. And there's not really too many jumps around us, so I honestly don't know. Maybe just riding heaps in the woods. We try and build your sketchy kickers and stuff, and I reckon jumping maybe just come from just locally. We just build jumps in the woods.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Trials have a different style, I reckon. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember some of the lads I used to race against back in the day, and we'd get to like a super steep section, and I'd be like terrified to go down it, and then boys would just break down it, until I got used to it, and then we'd go to some jumps, and they might not be as good at on the jumps or as smooth or whatever, but you seem to have the full package there. Cool.
Yeah, no, jumping was never really my thing. I don't know, like I've never really done jump bikes or I suppose just trials, I suppose, yeah, but I don't know how.
Yeah,
just bike control, I reckon, yeah. Still not, can't do any tricks or stuff, but I don't know. I'll go off a jump, yeah.
Oh, good. So what? When you first got into the mountain biking from trials, did any of your trials sort of mates do the same thing, or did you and your brother start doing the mountain biking together? How did that come about?
It was probably our school club. We were quite lucky actually. We'd have our school was just beneath Clondegler Forest Trail Centre. So on every Thursday nights, I think it was, we'd chuck the bikes in the back of the minibus, and a school teacher would take us up. And then we started doing that for years, and I feel like it helped with all our mates. Then got into mountain biking, just riding on the weekends, and then I don't know how it sort of transferred to mountain biking, but just ever gradually we just started doing more mountain biking. And then I feel like it was like you can't do both. So, like I said, it started getting a bit expensive of doing the British Nationals, and as it leveled up. And I think we just changed to mountain biking because that's what mates in school did. But not really trials riders sort of went to riding mountain bikes. It's just what we did at school. And I think ever since we did that first race, I would have been in high school. It was sort of just stick to it back from then. Yeah, it's just, they loved it going down fast. It was great. Yeah. Cool. And then we started learning to drive. That was it. And then you can bring your mountain bikes. You can put your mountain bike in the back of a small car, not your motorbike. We just started doing more of that.
Yeah. Fair enough. And so obviously you've mainly raced enduro, haven't you? And you've had some amazing results in enduro. But what got you into that discipline over, say, doing downhill or any of the other disciplines?
Just because that's the first race we found, I think.
Okay.
And how accessible it was, and that's why enduro is, I think, really good, because you can just get a bike, pedal around, and go and compete. So yeah, we had a local series, Buds, the Welsh Enduro Series, and we'd just do that for a good year or two with the mates. It was more like you say, a good laugh with your friends, and then as you started doing it, you're trying to get better and better. And I just did. I was first race, I was up there. Second one, I don't know if I was on the podium. I thought, just start getting into this, and you did. You got into it, and you wanted, and you're up there, the Welsh, and then you did the nationals. So just because it was what we did, and what didn't really look into the downhill. I think the downhill bike, maybe you have to go to do uplifts, don't you, to ride it? But I just wanted to ride my bike, so I think pedaling up and riding down was perfect for me, because you could ride it all day after school. Yeah, it's mint.
Yeah. It's like you say, it's easier to get into because normally everyone has like a trail bike or an enduro bike, don't they? And
you
compete on that as well as just riding it and on your local spots. And so you've had some amazing success in the races you've done in the UK and Wales and everything, and then you've had a fair crack at the Enduro World Series as well. And from me watching from the outside, and I've not had too much dealings with you.
No.
But the the way you ride a bike and the potential I think you've got, I definitely don't think you've hit your potential in the world enduro yet. Give us a little bit of chat on how that's gone at the world enduro. Obviously, you're on a really good enduro team with Forbidden. You had some great riders on that program, and give us a little bit of insight on that.
Yeah, you're right. So I privateered the first year. It was after COVID, 2021 it was. And just jumped in with a mate in his camper van, and we went off to race. We didn't know what we were doing. I had points from the year before from a PMBA race. And I was like, all right, I'm doing it. No idea I was going to get there or whatnot. Anyway, met Tom, and we chucked the bikes in. It was the first year on Forbidden. First year being an ambassador Forbidden. That was they gave us a bike for the year.
Right.
It was laughing, so that took so I could sell my old bike and do it that way. So
was that through the UK distributors?
Yeah, that was all UK stuff. Yeah, just emails and like they. To be fair, I was just some guy wanting to go race, so they did support us from the start, which was great, really. And we loaded up the old van and off we went. And we turned up to these races, no idea what we were doing, but yeah, so good. You'd meet people in the car park, wouldn't you? So we had our own crew that were in the vans.
Yeah.
And then this was last year in 21, so it was awesome. You'd go to all these new venues, never been before, and that year it was when we did the Pro Stage 2, wasn't it? And there was sort of 2 days racing, I think, because it was like the year after COVID.
Yeah.
I know it was mint. Worked my way up. Actually won that one in Ludenville, and then podiums and finales. This is unreal. Not knowing what you're doing. I don't even think I'd GoPro in anything. Just riding for fun and.
It.
Yeah, it was great. And then that year I got Forbidden Symbiosis, just sort of jumped on that team with Reese Verno it was, and who else on that year? it was just us two, really, yeah, for the enduro.
Yeah.
And
Was that the year Reese had an absolute flyer of a year, or was that the year after?
that was the year after. This is 22 now.
Okay, yeah, it was 23, was it, when he was hauling?
Yeah, it's 23. We had the whole team had a great year, yeah.
Yeah.
And a bit more pressure on you as a first year elite, and then you had all the team backing you and stuff. It was a bit of an eye opener, really, but
Did that
still.
kind of get to you a little bit, or did?
Yeah, I'd say yeah. I didn't, because obviously before I didn't even know it was a thing. Like, you could go race and have all the mechanics and have everything sorted. It was quite like, oh bloody hell, it's getting a bit different to last year's program. So
What you need, but did you feel like you were had to get the results to kind of because you got support?
yeah, the team's always been great with not having to put too much pressure on you. Just go and have a good time and do your thing. But yeah, I suppose you did. I suppose Reese was always, yeah, I'd look up to Reese, and he's always been right up there. So I've been a bit more gradual, but I showed like good results in the first year. So I was like, well, good stage times and stuff. I had a few like problems with chemicals, crashes, whatnot, but I've always shown good sort of like performances. It's hard to stick out a whole race, isn't it? But
Yes. Yeah.
Then what we say in 22 was the first year. Yeah, I did well. I really enjoyed it. And then 23 was that off season. I went and stayed at Connors in Australia.
How was that?
Did help. That was quite again mind blowing. Seeing sort of living with a full on professional. I was like, oh, this is crazy. Even though he's like very chilled and doesn't go all out, he's living with Connor was definitely a big step, I reckon, in my career.
Oh, cool.
Seeing how he worked, we go to the gym, he'd just ride all day in the heat.
And did you struggle with the heat over there for training and stuff?
Yeah, well, we would just ride in the morning and then sort of just kick our feet up in the day. That's quite funny, really. And then we'd go ride in the evenings. But being able to follow Connor on his local tracks, well, try and follow Connor on his local tracks, he just pulled you up to speed. It was great. And then that was the Medina race then, wasn't it? The 23 first round of that. So
that's a cool venue, isn't it? I thought that was an amazing.
Oh, that was probably, I reckon, one of the best races to date still. That one. Yeah.
The crowd and the stages they had and everything was amazing, wasn't it?
The spot itself, yeah, it was mint. You had the DJs go around to each stage, all the crowd. It was great. And
that's how I think it should be enduro, because it's an all-day event. You're on your bike all day. Just I think that buzz just added to it, didn't it, and kept you going a bit more.
no, it did. Yeah, it's a shame. It is like I say, it's always mint when you go to the races, isn't it? But it's hard trying to show that to the public outside the race, isn't it? But yeah, Medina was great. It was a great one for the team too. The start of that year. Yeah, Connor was on the podium, Reese was just off it, and I was just outside the top 10. Emmy won. It was team of the day. It was it was great.
Yeah. And what has it's a mega team that you had there. I imagine I guess a bit similar to the team that I ran, but you guys have probably one of the most sought after bikes, I would imagine, with a lot of customers at the moment. Forbidden came in and it became a pretty cool brand, and you see a lot of privateers on those bikes. You had a cool looking race team with all you guys doing well. I imagine some of the other programs that we were competing on had bigger budgets and stuff, but how did the budget go with that team? Was everything pretty much paid for? Was it all pretty good?
Well, yeah, like you say, the bikes are unreal. Really lucky to be in Forbidden for how long I've been with, and for another year now. So, budget wise, it's probably like because it's a new sort of brand, and you're probably on the lower scale to other brands. But well, we were, when Yeti goes for team of the day, it's there's like bloody 40 of them jump on, isn't it? And then there's about 6 of us. So
yeah,
Yeah, definitely smaller, but I feel like it can work in your favour too, just being so close. Like we are like a family on the road when we do go out, and
Yeah.
everyone's happy for each other. So yeah, everything's all covered for, and Matty's really good at what he does of sorting out all the flights and all the logistics of it. So you really do. That was another great thing. You really can just focus on yourself and
Mm-hmm.
race. So that year was minute. We had Travis for, we had a cook, and then we had, I think Reese's girlfriend Emily came and helped with all the other stuff and mechanics. Yeah, it's great.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it was a really cool team you had there. It looked really good. Um, and so, how you started off really well that year. How did the rest of that year go? And
Um, Pretty well. I think we went to Derby. It was a bit more physical, and I think I was just outside the top 30. We were just in it. It's always crazy when you do well the race before and then you're in the mix the next race. So I feel like I remember having, I think it was Martin behind me, Maze, and you just sort when you're that, I don't know, when I'm at the start of a stage and I see all these big names I've looked up to around me, it can kind of like get me a little bit stressing, but
bit weird.
yeah, it is weird, it is crazy every time it sort of happens. It's like, oh my god, but no, that year was good. Then came home and was it back to, yeah, it was at Pietra actually, which I'd never ridden before, and did well there. He's got top 20 there, and then Reese got a podium, his first podium. So yeah, that when you're on a ball, it sort of keeps
Yeah.
going, doesn't it? When you're on that, and then that's another funny story. Actually, we finished Pietra. I had my, was it one of my best results, and then Reese had his best result, and Matty didn't come to that first one, Pietra. I said, oh bloody hell! So he flew into for Leogang. Is it Leogang after Pietra? I think it was.
Yeah. I think
And then we went to that Moto Dorno place. Have you ever been there?
yeah, we went
Oh,
there maybe the year before or something.
yeah. It was. We woke up early after the race. Didn't tell Matty, the team manager. We're going to Dorno. Bearing in mind, we're all doing pretty well. And we're rising around Dorno. And I've never been on a track before. It's on this big bike.
You'd never been on a motocross track before?
No, I'd never been there. We turned up and Greg was there. Gav Carroll was there, and they're all pretty good on them. So they're ripping around. Oh. And you got to go on the small one to prove you can ride to go on the big one.
Yeah, I stuck to the small one more.
So when they went to the big one, I remember doing it. Must have been on there for about 2 hours doing laps with them.
So good.
Blew my arm off, flew off the bike. I had quite a big one, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, come off on the track. Yeah, come off limping. Ant-Man, the mechanic, he's really into moto.
Yeah.
So you might have to tell Matty. Didn't tell him. No, I didn't tell him. Turned up to the next race. I've got a bit of a limp on me. And he's like, oh, what's happened here then? It was a funny one anyway. We never trusted to go anywhere now.
No way.
Yeah, and then got to Leogang. Oh, everyone's all really happy. We're doing well. Team's great. And then we went to Schladming, me and Reese and Emmy. And we were lapping Schladming. And
what was
one of those where I'd go in front, and then next lap Reese would go in front, next lap out, and you go faster each lap. And we just felt so good on the bikes. We were going so fast down Schladming on these trail bikes. Yeah. Thought we were ready for anything. And then went back to Leogang. And then, Reese won that one. And I was sitting pretty much fifth all day. Then I crashed on one of the last stages. So
I remember that.
It just shows like feeling good on the bike is better than I reckon anything really. So
100%. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And so just for the people that are into all the bike tech and stuff, was that the year when Reese was riding the shorter travel bike?
Yeah, that was it. So I was on the Dreadnought, and then Reese was on the Druid, which is 130 at the back, and he had a 164 con.
Yeah, that's pretty. I believe I've never rode one, but I believe your bike, kind of feel a little bit more than what the travel says, the way they work. But that's quite a short travel bike for some of the World Enduro stages.
It is, yeah, especially for like the Leogang and stuff, where it was primarily just flat out downhill. I say finale, you probably get a bit more away with it, but
Yeah.
no, I've never really. Well, I have a Druid, but I've never really fancied racing one just because I'm super comfy on the Dreadnought. But Reese is different riding style, I suppose, and he's from XC, so maybe he's used to a smaller bike.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd be lapping Schladming, one of the roughest tracks, and yeah, I couldn't ride the Druid down there. I don't think Reese could ride the Dread. I don't know. It's just different styles to different bikes. So yeah, he prefers the smaller one. He still puts 29. I'm still 29, but no, I just would prefer the bigger bike just for get away with a little bit more. But I think Reese just maybe likes to, I don't know, have a bit more playful. I'm not too sure. Yeah.
I mean, you know, the track. I mean, the tracks are. It's hard to see because you only see such a tiny bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
But there's some pretty full-on tracks, isn't there, on the World Enduro? You know, it's.
Oh yeah, especially when you're like 10 minutes into something and you're hanging on to a bike down some of the roughest tracks. You don't really know where you're going. So
Yeah.
no, it could be gnarly some of the stages.
Definitely. What's your kind? There's been lots of different races and lots of different venues with different styles of tracks. I speak to different people, and obviously when I was on the team,
Yeah.
kind of riders on the team were more gravity sort of riders, so they always preferred the more steeper, difficult, technical terrain. Whereas you speak to other people who've maybe been at it a bit longer, and they like having a really physical stage. What's your favorite, and how would you like to see enduro being like sort of one if they kind of made it all similar for each round, like I guess like a downhill race?
Yeah. Me personally, I'd prefer the sort of like 5, 6 stages of all gravity focused, but you're still going out for a big day, so it'll still be enduro. I'm not saying get a lift to the top of each stage, so it's just 5 downhill stages, but
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know, we're lugging around back protectors, full face helmets and stuff. Then why are you trying to make a track's trail century sort of XC? So personally, I prefer just flat out tight, sort of techie, natural tracks where it's not like big bike park berms or whatnot. Where just downhill, just some so I know better to watch, I suppose, when you're blowing out your ass trying to ride.
Yeah.
Little tight. I prefer the downhill side of things. So
Yeah.
it's so hard to know, though, isn't it? What a race is going to be like and what bike to even ride. So I ride my Dreadnought. That's what I want to race. So yeah, it's hard to know.
And do you normally just take the Dreadnought, or do you sometimes have the shorter travel bike as a backup ready to go, or do you just stick with the one bike really?
No, I just stick with the Dreadnought. I ride the Druid. I'll go for spins on the Druid stuff because it's super fun. But no, the Dreadnought's the race bike. I feel like you want the stages to be Dreadnought worthy. Hopefully, the big bike. So
Yeah. Cool.
That's how I watched it. It was Sam on the big Mega and flat pedals and so that's how I want it to be.
I know. Well, same. I like that as someone watching and seeing you guys competing. That's how I prefer it. But
yeah,
and tell us a bit about obviously there's not as many flat pedal riders anymore in the world racing, whether it's downhill or enduro. It seems like there's in recent years there's actually been more enduro riders on flats than in the downhill, which kind of goes the opposite way of what you would have thought, 5-10 years ago. Have you ever tried clipping in and stuff?
I have played you for like 3 days and then quickly put them back on. I didn't really give them a try. Like I took them off and spoke to people, and they're like, "Oh, you have the pins wound all the way out," and I did. I just took them out of the box, and so you see on the bottom of my shoe, you see where the pins were, and that's where I was having trouble to go in and out. But no, I've never given it a try. I've been forwards from trials. I've just stuck to being able to take your feet off, and yeah, I couldn't imagine really riding clips. So yeah, like I said, I did it for 3 days and fell off, and my elbows were were not loving it. And when I go out to ride, I want to actually just enjoy riding my bike. So I can't just take 2 months back and trying to learn how to ride a bike again. So I was going to, everyone was persuading me. Then I went to live with Connor for the winter and thought, I'm not changing.
Can't do
So,
it. Yeah.
no, I've never really given it a try. I don't think I ever will really. I just love riding how I ride. So
Fair enough, mate. That's great. Great. I think a lot of people do get, they see the majority of people doing well on clips and then they think they have to, go and clip in and
well, that's what it was. Everyone was like, remember the first year I was speaking to Jack Moore and he was like, you've got to put them on, you've got to, because he was a sailor, you've got to put them on. But yeah, I've just never really took the time to do it. So, like you say, with downhill, I feel like maybe you're more enticed to because you've got to be so dialed and stuff. When you're on enduro, you don't really know where you're going. I think you can maybe get away with it a bit more, having to dab your feet and
yeah.
not as clean, is it? So,
No, for sure. And just, current, recent years, obviously, Connor's had some great results at Enduros. Obviously, Sam did what he did.
yeah, but now you got Alex Rideau and
That's what
Booker and
he's absolutely.
yeah,
Alex Rideau's killing it on the flat pedals, isn't he?
yeah.
And as you say, Dan as well. So it's good. Yeah, it's good. I think it's great having a mix of, different riders and styles, doing the enduro. And what do you think? How was the enduro world championships? Was everyone buzzing on that last year? Was that a good addition to the sport? Do you think?
Oh, I think definitely, yeah. When you're there, the vibe was great. It was quite a big thing for enduro, I reckon. So, yeah, you had the parade of all the flags and a little bit similar to the Trophy of Nations, that sort of side of it. But nah, it was great. It was just a normal enduro race, but yeah, obviously you had the chance to get the stripes. So the weather put a bit of not a downer on it, but it was snowy, cold, and a lot of mud. So but no, it was good. It was a good event. It was good at Kanazai, so it's like not too much local knowledge, so it was an even playing field for everyone. So
Yeah.
I just started off all right, then struggled to stay on. So
Was
yeah,
it just proper sketchy conditions? Was it?
it was. Yeah, I didn't come race day. It was. Oh no, it was. I remember coming at the bottom of the stage, putting on my rubber gloves again. Hand warm was the top of them. Climbing to the next one. Yeah, it's all about keeping warm. I remember in some layers on. Yeah, yeah. It was quite savage actually. All week it was the snow. It was snowing and you couldn't really get many riding in. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it was great. It was good event.
Cool. And what do you think that obviously the last few, I don't want to harp on about the industry
Mm.
much, but the last year or two, it like seems like the enduro for sponsorship and teams participation and stuff is kind of gone in the wrong direction as it was a few years ago. Enduro was the new sort of world event that was growing. It was good for teams. There was lots of sponsorships for riders, and then it sort of started going backwards a little bit in the last couple.
Yeah.
Do you think the World Championships will help that? Did it seem like the industry was buzzing off it and stuff? Because I wasn't there.
No. Hopefully, yeah, because there was a lot of like custom stuff for all the riders. So I know that created some cool content and whatnot and publicity. But yeah, I don't know with the whole enduro thing where it's going or what the actual vision is with it. So I know as much as anyone else really, but
Yeah.
hopefully, hopefully it does start picking itself back up. But it's hard to know, isn't it? Like where's it going to go? We all thought we were going to have to be racing e-bikes this year, and then that's gone. So really, really is a bit left in the dark with it also. Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, fingers crossed it can.
Hopefully, yeah, because that 21, the first year I went and did it, and I turned up, and it's like the pits were massive, and they closed the whole town and for this race, and hopefully, yeah, it builds its way back up to that. So
Yeah.
rather than being raced in the week and just being sort of like the little brother to the downhill.
Yeah, I kind of I think in my opinion, but there's way more to do with logistics and the amount of money it costs and stuff. But I
Yeah.
think we're better off being a standalone event, really, in venues where you're going to get a load of crowd, because if you want big crowds watching, and you can't be having the race on a Thursday because people are at work and stuff, aren't they?
Well, that's it. Yeah. Or if you're going to go for the weekend, you're going to go for the downhill, I suppose, aren't you? So
If there's multiple events, and you're probably going to watch the downhill because it's one track and you don't have to.
easier to watch. Yeah.
Whereas like venues like Medina and even the Tweed Valley and
Yeah.
when they race in Ireland, all the tracks are quite close together, so it's quite easy for the crowd to move from one track to the other. But if you're in the middle of the Alps and they're all over the places, you're not going to get the crowds, are you?
No, that's it. It's hard. It's hard, isn't it, to sort of organise a race? Do you
Yeah,
do it around the riding, or do you do it around the spectating? So
yeah,
yeah, it's finding those venues that are I've got the both of them. So
yeah, definitely, definitely. And in the past couple of years, obviously with Forbidden, you've had a little dabble at downhill on the Supernaut. How did you find that?
yeah, I've never jumped on a downhill bike before, so it was yeah, it was definitely different to the enduro bike. You sort of just change your whole sort of riding style, and I don't ride it enough to really focus on it because I'm obviously just trying to concentrate on enduro for now. But no, when you go on it, you have got to sort of change your mindset that you're on a downhill bike. Like this thing wants to go down faster than you. So yeah, getting a downhill bike was great, and I think it definitely helps enduro too.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so we went out to Crankworks and we went and rode the Whistler the year before last.
Yeah,
That was a sort of downhill race on the 1199 track.
that looks absolutely amazing. That track, if you're on top of your game, it looks fairly scary if you're not. But
Yeah, it is really good. It's like one of those, the faster you get, sort of easier it is. So it's rough, but once you get your lines down and stuff, it's mint. So yeah, I've only really done that race and then had it all winter last off season at New Zealand. So when having that at Queenstown, you like, oh, it was mint to take some hammer off the dreadnought and you can go ride the downhill bike. So
yeah,
with all the downhill boys there, it's like you kind of need one to try and keep up. But yeah, it is great. I love the downhill. I love the downhill bike. It opens up new lines, and yeah, I don't know. It is really good, sort of dialing in one track as opposed to just riding all day. It is good.
and tell us a bit about Queenstown, and how it was there, and who were you riding with there? How long did you go there last year?
We were there. I think we flew right into Queenstown, and we were there for I think just over 2 months. We all the boys from home
Yeah,
got their visas, and they went out working, and I saved up, and we were all right. We're doing it. Let's do it properly. So we all got a place right by the wasn't right in town, wasn't too far from town, just beneath Queenstown Hill, and had the garage and whatnot, and you just pedal out a few laps to Queenstown Hill. But yeah, when you're there, it was again so many people to ride with. I was Ed Masters. He was really welcoming and showed us the ropes, and it's like everything's communal. There's I've got this bike, I've got that. Everyone's so keen to help when you're there. So he'd pick us up in his van, and we'd go on a trail ride on the little 110s, and
yeah,
they know to have some fun, them boys, yeah. And then they just ride so much. Like, right, you get a text in the morning, and you're riding. This is at like 6 a.m. Yeah, all right, see you outside half hour, and then you are climbing up the hill, and so many tracks. You just fit so much more into one day being over there as opposed to here for the winter. It's like you can do 4 activities in one day. But now so many people ride, and it's hard to rest when you're there. It's just because you'll be back at the house like, I should be out doing something because it's like still sunny and you want to just ride. So it's a hell of a spot.
I mean, this looks like so many people go out there in our off season now.
Yeah.
obviously the race season for them boys over there as well. Do you think that's a big advantage for the guys from over there? Obviously, the disadvantage is, they're away from home so much in our
Yeah.
which makes it more expensive and difficult for the Kiwis and the Aussies and stuff. But do you think it's more of an advantage because they're kind of riding all year round and flipping we have crappy long winters. It's you can go riding at least, but
Yeah, you can't go. There's not many races, is there, when you stay home? So
yeah,
I think that's definitely an advantage. They get to go against the clock
yeah,
for their summer, whereas we're sort of stuck on limp mode. I feel like I always wanting to get going. So
yeah,
um, yeah, we're gonna try and get some races before the first few. But now, when you're out there, we then drove up to, we then did Cable Bay, New Zealand Nationals, and then we went and did Rotorua, Crankworks, and there's just so much to do, and then there's so much going on. It's like, every race you do, you get better. So yeah, I think having all those races in their off season probably does put them in there. I don't know. But then do they get a bit worn out and stuff? It's hard to know. But like you say, they've then got so much easier for us to jump in a van and in it across. So
yeah, definitely.
yeah.
And what was it like doing Crankworks? What events did you do at Crankworks?
We did I only managed to do the downhill race because I had to fly straight back home, and that was when the Dreadnought was being released.
Okay.
So I was looking after the video for the Dreadnought, and then so I had to come home for that. We did the downhill race, which is in Redwood, which I think now they've changed it to Skyline. I think this year's track. So we were last year on that Redwoods track, and then
pretty cool place, isn't it?
Yeah, it was great. I qualified a top 10, and then it rained. Was it? No, it was drying out. It rained in the week, and it was next morning. I was like, right, we're having it. Top 10, and I was like, I think it was the last practice run before race run in the morning, and after where Bernard, Bernard's bike went.
Yeah.
There's that left. There's a sort of a rhythm.
Yeah.
And it was practice. I think I got the woods quite slow, so I must have been in one of the easiest gears, one of the lowest gears. And I come around the berm, wanting to put a bit of a pedal stroke in, and then because I was in easy gears, where flats is a bit of a disadvantage, blew my foot off, and then just before the roller, sort of seat bounce the roller, and went straight over, slammed my hip.
Oh.
I was like, oh no, like fully locked.
Yeah.
Went to the medics. I don't know what they gave us, all sorts. I don't know what it was, some strong painkillers, whatnot. And then I got back to the top and put a race run together just because I wanted to race before I went home. So it was like my first sort of proper race. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that on a downhill bike. So yeah, it wasn't quite as good as qualifying, but yeah, it got down. But yeah, it's great. It's good doing downhills. You can learn the track, and every route, every line.
Yeah,
it's good.
Have you not had a go at like trying the slalom or anything like that out at Crankworks yet?
We did slalom last year. Yeah, jumped on Matty's Druid. So it's like, but the slalom these days now, they all have their own bikes. They set up bikes, don't they, for it? So it's like you can't just be dabbling in. I feel like you got to have a set up bike. So, but no, we tried slalom. That was great. Gates weren't the best, so I've been doing a lot more gates practice this winter at the BMX track. So, but no, I do enjoy Crankworks. There's so much to do. There's atmosphere and all the races, all the people. Yeah, especially the Whistler. You can go do Garbonzo and you do I don't know, 10, 15 minute downhill run. So
I've never actually raced it. I've rode the track, but I guess it's pretty physical, that race.
It is, yeah. It's one of those, like, do you ease into it or do you just go flat out? I feel like every race run now, even the enduros, you've got to go hell for leather, top to bottom to be up there, haven't you? So
yeah, it's a tough one. Obviously, I've never done it, so I don't know. But I remember I was there. What year would it have been? Maybe it was 19.
Yeah.
Or COVID, and we had a new aluminium downhill bike prototype, and Sam was I think Sam done like we were going to use that race as a bit of a test for the bike and see if changing. And I went up to the top with him to do Garbonzo, and he was like, obviously he'd been riding his enduro bike all the time. He hadn't been on a downhill bike, and yeah, all the boys were warming up at the top and doing the warm ups and sprinted off the top, and Sam just kind of sat there like he does and just pedaled off steady out the gate. And I was
Crazy, isn't
doing like I just thought maybe just wasn't feeling it, and didn't think he was gonna do well or whatever. And then I get to the bottom and he's won the flipping thing.
crazy, isn't it?
Because he said, I don't need to warm up for a 15-minute race. I'm going to be warm in a few minutes, and then just picked up his pace. And yeah,
That's sort of like Connor, like sort of silent assassin. Like all race week, he'll never want to lead out.
yeah,
He'll be following you, just doing his own thing. Even on the race day, he does his own thing, and then he'll go and flip and smash everyone, won't he? So,
yeah,
but yeah, same with like him pedaling to the stages. He's always just sat down to go real slow at the top. He's just chilling.
yeah.
It just does it. It's pure talent, isn't it? Raw talent, what they've got.
It is, and I think quite a few Aussies that I've dealt with, they're pretty laid back, aren't they? And
They are, yeah, yeah.
they've got they must have a lot of stuff going on in their heads, but it doesn't sort of show, does it? And they're actually pretty smart. Like, well, no, I haven't worked with Connor too much. Well, not I haven't worked with Connor at all, but I've always watched him and been a fan of his riding and stuff.
Yeah.
With Sammy, he was a lot cleverer than you think. Well, obviously you can't win all them races without being, but back when everyone was having a 34 tooth chainring on the bike, he was running a 30, saying, "What's the point in pedaling hard all the way to the top? I need to save me energy." He'd just spin up really slowly, and whereas other guys were like, "Oh yeah, I'm fucking strong as I can push this 34."
Yeah.
Yeah, they're smarter than you think, them Aussie fellas, I reckon.
That's how they get you.
Yeah. Uh, so tell us a bit about the team structure for this year, and how what's the plan this year? What races are you targeting, and what's the is there like is there any does the team sort of does sort of come straight from Forbidden themselves on what they want you to race and promote their bikes in, or is it quite casual?
Um, yeah, luckily we can sort of pick and choose what we want to do, and then they're good enough to support it. So, me and Reese were definitely focusing on the enduro again this year, just because we want to give it another good crack, and feel like we are in a better position than we ever have been, really, on the bikes, and real comfy on the dreadnoughts, and I'm not sure if he's ran the drill dreadnought, but yeah, we're going to be doing the enduro. I think Emmy will come along the enduro and do some downhills too.
Okay.
Then we got John Moselle back on the Forbidden team. He took a year off, so we all won. And then how he's doing the downhills as well as Ryder, the junior, did the downhills. So yeah, it's pretty open what we want to do. I would have liked to have done some more downhills. Hopefully, try and get back into hardline and give that another go. So yeah, just try and do as fit as much as winning as we can possibly, and do some UK events and try and look into some trans races too. And just while we got the opportunity, just try and get out there and really do the most, really.
Cool. And what is so the first round of the EDRs is coming up pretty soon. What it goes is it finale, then Poland, and then what is it? Is there three in a row? I think.
I think it is. Yeah, it'll be finale Poland, and then is it the Tweel?
Wheel.
Perhaps, yeah. So back to that, which is I haven't been for a few years, which should be fun.
Yeah, yeah. And so what's the plan now? Are you going to get away somewhere before then, or will you be first trip be out to finale?
Probably first trip will be out to finale. Yeah, we've got the van here in the UK, so we'll go pick that up and then drive out and pick Reese up on the way and everyone else. So yeah, first we'll be out in finale. Maybe go stop somewhere along the way or ride a bit to finale a few days before, a week before. Try and get back up to speed on the sort of rocky stuff we don't quite have here. Well, like that kind of rock, say bedrock.
Yeah.
And yeah, go from there. We'll drive up to Poland. Be more of a sort of smaller team in just the van this year.
Yeah.
More road trippy and yeah, try and film some bits on the way and yeah.
And that's it. I mean, you've done some incredible riding edits, for the brand and stuff. Have you got quite a few more of them planned in between the races and stuff?
Not so much in between. We have a few bits planned this year with some new bikes and some stuff with the brand, and then yeah, we always try and, if I can, squeeze in some bits. Always hard, like you feel like you're gonna focus on a video, you're compromising race performance. So I've always been like not too sure knowing which one's probably best, but like you say, you get a heap out of a good video as opposed to top 20, top 10 EWS, don't you? So yeah, I really am trying to focus more on videos. I think, not more, but like than previous years, and try and get some good content out here.
Yeah. I guess you can. Off season is, you can go and do that stuff as well, can't you? And then as long as you've got the products that you need to that's going to be promoting. But yeah, there's quite a lot of hype on possibly some of the new bikes that Forbidden are going to be launching later on in the year. There's everyone's chatting about them, so it sounds pretty exciting.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. It's always good when you hear what those boys are doing over in Canada, and it's it's going to be sick. They know how to release a good bike.
And do you get to go over to Canada to Forbidden much, or do you not?
Well, yeah, that's another real good thing about being on the Forbidden, because Canadian-based team. But no, I go over to Bromont now and then to go and see Matty and the team on that side, and then I'll go over to Whistler during Crankworks and see everyone from the company then. But I've never been over to the actual island, Vancouver Island, which is where they are based. But yeah, I really do want to go there and head there because it has heard some good things. But no, I just see them all when they come to Crankworks, and it's always good. But no, I need to try and link in a trip to the island.
Yeah. Cool. So where would you say so far that you've raced at? What's been your favorite venue, would you say?
Well, I'd say my favorite would probably be Hardline. It's like, I know it's not too far, but it's that race itself was it was crazy. Having all your mates turn up to race day when you're there, it was mint. And actually getting to ride the track, you've seen so much on it. Actually getting to ride it. But say enduro would be, I'd even go for Medina, just because the tracks are like full on downhill tracks. And then where else do I like going? Louisville's always pretty fun. It's more sort of natural type of riding. And then probably that for Europe, I reckon Louisville, just because it's like more like we have at home, muddy, rooty. It's always quite often wet when we go. So yeah.
Cool. And tell us a bit about Hardline, because that's another level of track, isn't it? Even
Oh yeah, when you're there, it's like you just you actually can't realize how crazy it is and how no it is unless you're actually there. So yeah. What was that? We were in Poland last year, and Matty was emailing Rob, and he was like, "Oh, I got Alex here. He's keen." He's always said I was being keen, but and I reckon I think Joe Smith did his collarbone. I think a week or so before. I don't know when it was.
Yeah,
Rob was.
Joe. Yeah, I think he broke his collarbone, didn't he?
Yeah, and Rob was like, "Is Alex still keen?" It's like next week or whatnot. He asked me. I was like, "They can't really say no," but no, I'm still keen. And I remember it was Holland practice. I reckon it was like race day. I found out that it's happening. That's all I could really think about, and then flew straight. Kept the bike in the van. They all stayed in Europe. I just flew straight home. I had a bike that was last ridden when I was in Queenstown, probably. Dusted her off, pulled her out, and then went straight to. That's what I mean. You have all the bike parks. I went straight to like Dovey and did the Icon Way, and then I went to Hellfair and at Kaisus did that line. I mean, you can't really prep for it, can you, Ralph? Just trying to.
At least you've got those.
You have, yeah. That's the thing. You actually can go and lap all day on big jumps. So, and I was like, right, that's the most prep I can do. And then Forbidden got the new colour frame for us, so went to visit the day before we all go to the accommodation, and then that night before the first track walk and practice, Raf's building it up, and I was like, all right, we're on, walk the track, and then started ticking things off. But it was a hell of a week, but it was also so good. Like first time being there, all the riders are super encouraging, and they are like very. It's not like an all race. I feel like they don't share what's going on. So
That's what I took from it when I went with Elliot that year. Elliot did.
yeah.
Everyone's so encouraging. It's kind of obviously on race runs. It's race runs still, but
Yeah.
in practice, everyone's like super helping each other out, aren't they? And there's no secret lines or anything.
No. It's just they're like telling you, and you do trust them. Well, you've got to trust them, you what they say. So
Yeah.
I didn't. What was it? Yeah, we practiced the track walk, and we started again. We started the first practice laps from beneath the road gap because it was a bit windy up top.
Yeah.
So we lapped that bit, and I remember you'd be like looking at the bottom of them, being like, "Oh, they're big."
Mm-hmm.
Then your perspective was just changed, and you get to the bottom. Oh, I'm at the bottom, 3 last jumps, and then you go to the top. And, oh, they're big. I don't know. It's just your whole mindset sort of changed as the week went on, and you started getting comfort on things, but on the jumps and features. So no, it was a scary week, but super happy I got them all ticked off.
What would you say was the most intimidating feature there for you?
Quite easy to say the 90 footers, just because I didn't want to follow anyone in all week. So all week I didn't follow anyone in. So sort of worked them all out on myself while watching others, just because I didn't want to be going to the end of the week and being like, I can't ride it without following someone. Because obviously speed changes when you're in their slipstream and all that. So I'll just do it all myself. But probably 90 footers, or where I used to join up off the you had the Renegade. Yeah. The Renegade drop, you had the metal kicker, that drop up top where the new track joined in. Yeah. That drop, I think, probably took me the most time, I reckon, or many times looking at it. Just because there was a day where it was open and people were hitting it, it was like 50-50. Right. Who was hitting it and who would go round, just because they didn't want to do it that day because it was still a bit wet. So I would go round with others.
Looked quite a harsh landing from that.
It's super blind as well, and you'd hit the berm. And you have to go quite fast, but not too fast. You don't want to land in the rocks before the tight left. So, you didn't ride it for a couple of days, that drop, and then you get yourself a bit worked up throughout the week. Then don't you? Oh, still got to hit that drop. Yeah. And then you'd hit it then the day before qualifying or whatnot. But full runs too, you'd be like panicking whether you can link up a full run or not. Because you don't do any of them, and then. I did a full run before qualifying, and qualifying must have been my second proper, or maybe even proper first full run, which is like pretty bizarre when you go to a race you've not done a full run before. And then did a few, I think 1 or 2 practices for a race day, and then you get to go and link it up. But you finish the race run, then you're watching the top boys at the bottom on the screen, and you just don't. Because no one rides like that during practice, you didn't think they were going to ride that race, and then you look at it and go, "Oh, the boys are actually racing that top part flat out." Yeah. So it'd be good to go back and have a bit more confidence, and know how you ride it all, and before you actually get there, I reckon. Yeah.
And have you? When will you hear whether you get an entry for that? Has anyone say?
I'm not too sure really. Maybe there's a few spots close to the time.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to ask a few people. Yeah.
Moving forward, after this season, depending on how all the enduro racing's going and stuff, would that be something else you would like to focus on? Because that if they've got 3 races next year, like people are talking about, would that be something you'd be interested in doing?
Probably, yeah. I'd say so. Going more into a series of that would be probably definitely a bit more marketable than enduro at this point, I reckon. I'm not too sure. So it'd be something I'm definitely interested in. A bit more time on the big bike and focus on that. So I don't know. I'd be keen.
So see what happens.
See what happens with enduro, I reckon too, isn't it? So
yeah, definitely. Hopefully it'll it'll turn around a bit and get back to where it was a few years ago. And what about, have you got any desires to do downhill World Cup?
I have, yeah, I always have, but it's hard to go just dip your toes into that, isn't it? You've got to be fully invested in that. But no, I have really want to go, and I'm not too sure the whole criteria to get into it nowadays. I don't have
Yeah,
to take a look. Yeah, I've just been focusing on what I want to race this year. But no, I do really want to give it a good crack, and yeah,
yeah,
get on a downhill, proper World Cup downhill track would be
yeah.
fun.
Well, sure, you've definitely got the skills to do it, mate. But it's like you say, it's going. I think it's going to be harder and harder to get into doing a World Cup downhill race if it carries on the way it is. But
Yeah.
I've heard like there's good, obviously you've got your elite teams and stuff, but still doing like wild card entries and stuff like that.
Suppose, yeah, you'd have to have a look, but no, I would be meant to proper, get some time on the downhill bike and
Give that a crack as
yeah, yeah, definitely.
What is is there any venues in Wales that you think could be suitable for a downhill World Cup now? With Dovey Bike Park and
I reckon Dovey definitely have potential, don't they? They could do a racetrack or something from halfway. Well, probably a racetrack from the top. It's like 4 or 5 odd minutes long where you can go to and do halfway. I'm not too sure how long that is, but no, Dovey definitely have the facilities and that would be sick. I reckon there's a few spots, that would be able to host one.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Even one giant leap, I suppose that's only 2 minutes, isn't it? So it's not super long.
Mega venue. Like I've always said to Dan Atherton over the years, I think that place would be insane to have like our Red Bull or whoever do like one-off events. I think it'd be so cool to have a downhill bike one-off slalom there.
Where's that?
In
The Dovey.
no, sorry, in Langolan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so like you've got the. I've not been for ages, but they used to have the different tracks that came down the open. In
That's it. Yeah, it's on open hill, isn't it?
I always thought of an amazing like with all banners and maybe a car jump in the middle and stuff. But
Yeah.
have a downhill bike slalom there. I thought it'd be amazing for the TV and that.
Yeah, something like that would be cool to go and watch, wouldn't it? I'd watch people slalom down that steep hill. Yeah.
So,
No, what Dan's done at that bike park too is
oh,
pretty sick to go there each weekend. Probably each weekend now. Yeah, go to W Bike Park.
yeah. I actually hadn't been, and I took my son there a few weeks ago, and Dan was amazing. He met us in the morning and took us up on the tracks that he thought were suitable for
Yeah.
me and my lad. And yeah, we had crap weather, but it was still amazing. What they've done there is phenomenal, and it's so good for the bike brand and stuff to promote. And
Oh, yeah. But you can go and ride, then you can be there all day and then just touch 3 tracks, and you get to like 3 p.m. and you're like, oh, we don't even want to go ride this, that. It's like you have so much choice there. It's
yeah, I'm definitely gonna go and take him back there. But yeah, we basically rode. I don't know how many times I rode. Is it Turns in the Ferns? Like
no, yeah.
easiest tracks, I believe there. But that was so much fun that track.
Oh, you could be the same. You could lap that like six times, and then forget to go and touch anything else.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Such a good facility.
It's
And
so good for the UK too, I reckon. Like the amount of people that go there and to all the other bike parks,
yeah.
it's definitely feeling out.
Have you got onto doing any coaching like Alan, Joe and stuff there yet?
I've got me coaching stuff. I haven't really pushed it, but it's something I definitely do want to do. Yeah, there's Joe Riley, Bondi, they all coach there. Yeah, it looks real good. I suppose they're all booked out for the week and the weekend. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely something I'll be looking into. Yeah,
Good little way of earning some extra dollar between the
yeah,
races.
and it's a perfect place to do it, I suppose, isn't it? You can do all different levels. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Sure. So what's the have you got any, have you set yourself any goals for this year at the Enduros, or you just kind of, obviously everyone wants to win, but do you set yourself goals, or do you just always go out and do the best you can at every round?
Yeah, I do the best I can, but I think this year I've definitely tried to put a bit more sort of like not pressure, but like I really do want to try and be quite up there, the pointy end. Your top tens and top fives and stuff. So yeah, I've definitely put a lot more time in the gym this off season and been on this new Dreadnought V2 now for over a year. Whereas last year was like this time last year I was just getting it. So it makes a difference being comfortable on a bike, I reckon, over a whole year, you know what it's doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, same bike, definitely lot more time in the gym and more structure of like sprints and stuff. So which I've never really had sort of done before. I've always been in the gym and I've always rode my bike, but
Yeah.
I just be out on my bike all day. Whereas this off season, I've sort of like a bit more sort of intent on what I'll need to do throughout the day. So yeah, I definitely got goals of being consistently up there rather than just here and there. Try and get a bit more consistency and just racecraft, isn't it? You know, like last year I'd see I'd be doing well. I'd look at the results coming to the end of the day and then go and blow it. So to try and stay up there, but I reckon if just like Mattia said to one round last year, just try and go out, stop trying to go out there and get a top five, try and go out there and get a top 20. And then it went and got like, I don't know, it's like just out the top 10. So it's hard, isn't it? Like try hard, don't try too hard. Yeah, it's really hard. So that's why I got so much respect for likes of Richie and stuff that can do it each weekend at different venues.
Well,
it's like, it's just not knowing your limits, but sort of just, being smart of it, isn't it? Like, is it worth trying to gap that or do this? Whereas you can pedal a little bit harder out of that and it would get time back. So yeah, I learned more about the whole racing, I reckon. So
yeah, I've seen it with a few riders when I've been at the races. You know, I've seen Richie go around like maybe the biggest, gnarliest line on feature on one track, and Richie's actually gone round it, and still either won or been in the top three, and picking your battles because it's not a World Cup downhill race where every single section you've got to get completely nailed in it. You've got to.
No, that's it. I get myself revved up on some sort of gap or so, and then forget about all the bits in between. So why it's good having Reese, because Reese is definitely a different riding style. He's probably more like just average speed sort of thing, like linking it up.
Yeah.
So we now watch GoPros, the night before and stuff, and we compare, and I reckon that definitely is going to help us, and both our sort of riding styles into one is,
Yeah, I remember, Sam was always it always blew me mind when how good he did on certain stages where you thought he'd be off the back with, pedaling. Big pedally stage or whatever, but he was smart in the way he approached every stage. He had you can't remember every track, but he always learned off the GoPros and remembered the key features where he needed to carry speed into a section to kind of save energy. So then he had the energy to give his maximum on the pedaling sections. He'd be smooth and conserve energy rather than
I reckon that's a massive help, massive benefit. That sort of attitude.
Corners and pedaling out of them, you're just using more energy, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. Like you can go as fast as you want into it, but you're coming out of it, having to use your energy in that way. But hopefully this year, a bit more higher up there, because I confidently know I could be right at the point end on the downhill stage, but there's a bit more sort of like physical aspect. I want to still know that I can be up there. So let's see how it goes.
What was it? And I take it you're doing all the rounds if everything's going well.
Yeah, hopefully so. Yeah, I think that's what it's pretty easy for us.
Yeah,
to just go and drive to them. I know it's not best being in Europe, but I suppose it's a benefit for us. So I think I'll definitely be doing them all with the van, and then I think the Canadian lot will see how they're doing and whether it's worth coming over or they're going to focus more on the North American stuff. Then they'll do that. But definitely try and get a good season under the belt with all the enduros. So
bro.
we can,
And have you got any new team sponsors or anything this year, or is it all pretty rolling on from last year?
Yeah, a lot of it rolling over. We have a new shop in kind of Dunbar that is sort of backing the team a little bit more, I think, this year. Who else have we got this year? I think that's pretty much it for new sponsors. Yeah, so lucky just to keep all the originals and be comfortable in what we know. And like you said, I wouldn't change a thing on the bikes. Like they are the dream build, so super lucky with that way.
Yeah. Have you got to try the RockShox flight attendant stuff on the suspension much?
Yeah, the first time we had that was last year. I got it as we were just before the first round of finale, and I was like, yeah, something new just before the race season. You're just like, never too sure. And then I put it on, and it's like, yeah, it's a game changer. I feel like I have it in the automatic mode, so I haven't got to press any of the buttons. You can have it above the dropper.
Yeah,
but I just have it in auto, and it just goes off your sensor in the cranks, and then you drop it. It's all paired into the head unit on the forks, and just as soon as you sort of touch the fire road and you're sprinting, it just sits the bike up, locks it out, and as soon as you drop back in, it's straight back into open. So you can change all the bike speed, but yeah, I wouldn't go back to not having it. Like even just on a ride, if I just go around the local, stop at the bottom, and you're going back up the climb, there's none of the bobbing or anything. So
cool.
Yeah, it's mint, and it's never like failed on me. Like people are like, oh, does it sometimes stay? And no, I've never had that. Like I don't even feel like it's really changed on the trail. Just as soon as I'm going back up the top, it's
So how does that work? Say I've never rode it, but say you're at Dovey and you flying down one of the tracks there, you might be on a fast fire road going into some jumps. Does it firm up on the fire road when you're going downhill as well, or does it kind of stay supple on that?
No, I think at least mine only works off the pedaling. I think the downhill ones they have now are maybe a little bit different.
Yeah.
But no, mine will just work off like if I'm pedaling. So if I'm pedaling along that fire road, then it will go into pedal mode or lock. Mm-hmm. But if it's just sort of like a constant downhill and the suspension's working, it'll stay in the open unless you change it and you can do it manually.
Okay.
Which would be, I think it would be good, but like for me, I just wouldn't really want that in my head that I'm like, am I lock, am I not? Because I probably forget where I am. So knowing that it's in auto and it does it itself is I reckon that's the way for me anyway. One less thing to worry about.
Yeah. And bike setup, are you someone that kind of gets your bike set up and you stick with it, or do you like messing around a lot at the races and changing things?
Nah, I'm probably more just like stick to what I've got. So another thing I really like about these bikes is I often just jump on them and I can get pretty much used to it straight from the get-go. So now I'll set me sag, and then I've got a claw on the back and set the same. Wouldn't change colour weight at all in the ear. No on suspension. Maybe put a token in here or there if it's like a little bit more big hits during a race run. I reckon I might put another token in the fork, but pressure and compression, they all stay the same. I pretty much know where it needs to be, and then don't often change it at all. Even if it's rainy or dry, I just leave it the same. Just for enduro, I feel like if you want a bike that works for everything, don't you? So you can't be tweaking it all day for different stages. So I just learn what it does all day and on different things, and just stick to it. So that's what I go for.
And what about tire choice and stuff? Obviously, there's so many different conditions that can be on a enduro, weekend. Do you stick with one kind of tire, or do you swap and change from venue to venue?
This is something that's definitely changing me. I always used to stick with like dries and Assegai and DHR and never change them. Like it rains all winter, I would never change a tire. So why would I change them at a race? Because that's what I'm used to. So but then Matty's like, he got all these shorties and all these wet screens, and no one's bloody using them. Because we just stick to what we know, isn't it? It's like, but then you actually do try the tires that are designed for those conditions, and they are actually better.
Yeah.
But then it's just in your head, isn't it? It's like, so over this winter, I reckon I have definitely tried different tires and put more time on tires. So when we're at a race, I can confidently change, because I've done it before. I've like changed the night before, and then I've asked Raf to put my original, the dries back on just because right before I head out, just because it's like in your head, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I reckon more stuff. I'm definitely changing it more this year as opposed to the last couple of years. But yeah, tire pressure sort of stay the same, and then I'm trying to get a bit more confidence in changing tires in different conditions. So hard there isn't even enduro. Like one track's different, one track isn't. So we won't often change. We never change a tire during the day. I don't think. Maybe if you go back to a tech zone and you've got like one final or two final stage that are muddy or dry. Very rarely. It's pretty much tire I use in the morning. I use all day. So yeah, it's often ranges between that new high roller 3. Really enjoying that on the front.
Yeah.
So I'll put that on the front and then DHR at the back, and then if it's real muddy, I might go double shorty. But yeah, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I always kind of thought that if it's wet at Ludenville, I always thought like a more spiky tire was a big advantage just on them stages on the opposite to the downhill track stage, in them woods where
It's turned really clay, doesn't it?
yeah, I thought you could make, at least make quite a bit of time up on those sort of tracks. But like you say, you might go one track, spike tires would work, and then it's a rocky, rooty track, and it's in your head that you're flipping it. It's
but if a shorty can if a mud tire can clear the mud a bit quicker, then it will be more beneficial than you just make do with it at the top of a rocky alpine stage. It is hard to just pick one. Yeah.
Sure. Cool. So with your training, do you have like a trainer nowadays, or do you kind of do that stuff on your own?
No, I had a trainer a couple of years ago. It was really good because his unit was just near mine, so I'd be seeing him like each week, and we'd do that. But I often just do my own sort of stuff these days. I got a bit of help started this off season with Ben from Strength Factory, and he gave us a few pointers on what to do, and that helped. So I've sort of been training for like 4 years now, and I kind of know, being with all different people, living with Connor and stuff, you kind of figure out what you need to do. So I haven't really got sort of a set like train or anything, but me and Reese worked out on this. We sort of put all what we do down on like a file, and we sort of work off that. So we nothing sort of set. We just very generic stuff in the gym, and then sprints on the bike. And then I've done a lot more like road riding this off season to get my base zone too, sort of stuff. So nothing too like, people just follow some sort of spreadsheet. I don't reckon I could do that. I don't know. Because one day if it's trails a minute, I want to go ride and not be in the gym. So I've never like stuck to sort of set program. No, I like to be a bit flexible, and I know it's hard to, are you doing enough or are you doing too much? That sort of hard, but I'm always filling in my days when I can to train and ride. So
cool. And other than the world rounds, are you doing any UK events this year where people can come and watch you? Any UK listeners?
Yeah, hopefully try and get to Hard Rock, and then I think do Scottish have an enduro season this season?
Got something coming up.
I think so. So yeah, the UK it's a shame. Sort of like these grassroots things, feeder events are kind of like on the down there. I think a lot of them have dropped out. So Hard Rock, I think I'm going to try and do. What else is there? There's a few British, I think, locally. So that's not heaps, eh? Oh. What I can, I'll try and get to in some of the downhills, and then I think there's a festival in Clan, like an enduro fest. Try and get to that. So I always do love racing back home. It's like what I've done for years. So it's just trying to figure out where they are, which ones. But cool. How about you? Are you going to get to any?
I don't. I think if I was, obviously, my son's doing his first race this coming weekend, so I'm a bit quite nervous about that because he's only really got into doing. He's always rode the bikes a little bit, but really recently got into it the last kind of 12 months, so he's still learning stuff, you know. And he's pretty little for his age as well, but he's doing the SDA at the weekend here in Eleathen. So I'm gonna try and help him with that. Probably more shouting at me than anything else, but yeah, that hopefully that'll go okay. I'd like to try and get out to Hard Rock, I think. Try and do
Yeah,
that.
that's always a good one, isn't it? Like a
Yeah,
festival.
yeah. I've only ever been to it once, but the
Yeah,
was it was terrible weather, so I'd like to, I saw it last year and it looked dry and looked fun.
hit or miss, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd like to try and do Josh's race in Bolly Enduro, but
Oh yeah, true. That's yeah. I'm trying to do that.
yeah,
Gutted I missed that last year. That look. Did you go to that last year?
I was doing something that weekend or something happened that I didn't go, but it looked mega, yeah.
Oh, that did look class. Yeah, yeah. I try and get to that.
I haven't entered, so I've probably missed the boat unless Josh can sneak us in that. But other than that, um, I'm gonna try and go on a bit of a trip in the summer to take me lad back to Morzine and a few other places. But I don't know on the timing. But I'd really like to. If I was coming to watch one event, I'd like to watch the La Tuile one. I think so. The
Yeah,
downhill, but
yeah, yeah,
not sure yet.
yeah.
Yeah, I kind of struggle to because we've got riding on the doorstep here, and I never had that before I moved here. I don't actually go to that many places anymore.
No, that's it.
But Harrison loved it at Dovey, so I've definitely got to take him back there in the holidays when he's off school and stuff. He loved it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely tick off some more Welsh boxes.
Yeah, and I'd like to go
Uh,
to Kirkuk actually. That looks really
yeah, yeah, that's really good.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I need to also come up your way, do some of the inners and golf. Like I don't really go up to ride it unless I'm
Yeah.
racing it. So
Or maybe when one of them new bikes gets launched, maybe that'll be
yeah, yeah, we'll go for a spin.
uh, sounds good. So, if anyone wants to, follow what you're doing, Alex, what's the best sort of platforms to do that on?
Probably Instagram, just Alex Storr, and then for the racing side of things, probably Forbidden Bike Company on the Instagram and YouTube. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, I think most videos we'll do will go on Forbidden YouTube. So
Are you going to turn into a YouTube vlogger yourself, or not yet?
funny you said that. I actually filmed a sort of vlog with a mate. I haven't actually uploaded it yet, but maybe maybe want to try and do some more vloggy stuff. There's actually some exciting. Hopefully, with the enduro side of things, we're going to do some sort of like I don't know series. So just sort of bring it back to what I used to watch was like the raw sort of when you're watching the enduro, like how do they set up the bikes and like all day, how do they feel all day and all that stuff. So yeah, some more sort like behind the scenes stuff rather than trying to film all the riding would be pretty cool. I think what they want to watch. So yeah,
Yeah, I love all that bike setup and all that stuff. It's
yeah.
but obviously you've got mega style on the bike, so every time you put a edit out, people want to watch that as well. So
Cheers, yeah, no, thank you.
no worries, lad. Sam, well, yeah, I'm excited to see how you go this year. Hopefully, you'll get the world results that I think you're capable of. That I don't think you've hit on
No, yeah.
yet.
Hopefully a bit of luck and
Yeah,
this off season's yeah hard work. Hopefully yeah, you can
you
put some solid ones in.
try and limit the mistakes. I guess is the way in enduro, and I reckon you'll be right up there, mate.
Yeah, nah, cheers. Hopefully try and get out to somewhere we can
Yeah.
catch up again.
And
Yeah, missing you at the enduro races we are.
yeah, I miss going, mate. It's always good seeing you boys racing and having the crack. It's good, but yeah, I'll try and get out to one and check it out. And I'll drop Warner a little text, make sure he's getting you in that Welsh hard line.
Yeah, that'd be class.
No, mate. So,
Oh, laughing.
well, thanks so much for your time, Alex.
Oh yeah, thanks for having us. It's been meant to catch up.
Appreciate it, mate. And yeah, good luck with everything this year. And yeah, make sure and Forbidden Boys look after you and keep you going because I think you're a really good asset for that brand. So
Nah, yeah, they are. It's super having. Really good having their back in. Yeah, it's been mint.
Cool, man. Cool. All right. Well, thanks a lot. And yeah, hope everything goes well. And I'll be cheering for you from the laptop and the TV.
Class. Thanks very much.
Right, lad. Nice one.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, sweet. Have a good one.
Cheers, bud. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that podcast with Alex. What a sound dude he is, and a phenomenal bike ride. If you haven't tuned in and seen some of his edits he's done for Forbidden, make sure you get on them because yeah, he's so good to watch on a bike, and hopefully he'll get the results he deserves this year. Um, yeah, thanks for tuning in as usual. I'd like to give a big shout out to one of our listeners or viewers, Troy. He was so generous this week and bought 10 coffees for us. So yeah, big thanks for that, Troy. Really appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. And if you're feeling generous like Troy, you can always buy us a coffee and for your appreciation. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you all next time. Cheers.